one. Just kidding.
So early.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 34 of On the Back Hash, where we talk all things Pageantry Arts. My name is Cedric Lavelle, and joined with me, as usual, is Mr. Zach, Mr. Chris, and Mr. Will. I almost said Mr. Klein, but I was like, man.
Well, you would technically be true.
It would be correct.
Yeah.
However, we know several Mr. Kleins.
We do, and no relation.
Yes, that's the crazy part about it all. So, how's everybody doing after Debbie week?
Tired, man. We stayed up so late last night. It was past my bedtime. I think they're still on the floor right now dancing when we ended that stream. I think they're still there.
Maybe. I mean, they did have the day after class today, so.
Oh, God. I want them to add on the live stream next year, I want them to add a little counter at the bottom corner for every time they do the WGI clap. And it just counts through the whole weekend, and we'll see how many there are.
So, my wife did not know about the clap. Not the STD, like the clap from WGI. But
Shut up, Jack.
but I knew that's where he was going with that. So I'm just like,
I let it go.
Whatever. Anyway, we're sitting there, she's like, what are they doing at the beginning of that? I was like, well, that's the WGI clap. I was like, they do it after before every group goes on. She goes, every group? I said, every group. Everyone gets the clap.
Crazy. And then there's bonus if you're a group from California or Texas or Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah.
They add on to it. But no, it's cool. It's what makes WGI and all that good stuff. So, real quick, we're going to run down the medalists from each class, and then just kind of give our quick thoughts about what happened last night and what we saw last night throughout the season before we get into percussion world, because this week, starting tomorrow, is the Percussion World Championships. So, running it down, it's Scholastic A. Your bronze medalist was Franklin High School. Your silver medalist was Clearbrook High School. And then your gold medalist.
Clearbrook?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. My bad.
Yeah, you got to pause. You have to pause.
Let me try again. And your silver medalist was Clearbrook High School.
You done passed. Moment pass.
I never know. And your Scholastic A World Champions and Scholastic A with a 98.915.
Ridiculous.
Raises.
It was Dobbins Bennett. I watched it though. It was It was.
No, the show's dope.
It was legit. Like, you can see why they did what they did. In Independent A, your bronze medalist was Purdue University. Your silver medalist was the Magnolia Project. Shout out. Yeah. And your gold medalist champions in Independent A class was the Pacific Airs out of Canada. So, yay, Canada. Good for them. All right, listen. It was on.
God save our queen.
I'm so confused right now. All right, Scholastic Open. Your bronze medalist was Milford High School out of Ohio. Silver medalist was Mount Carmel High School out of California. And your Scholastic A World Champions, your Scholastic Open champions was Somerset Academy out of Florida. In your independent open class, the Pride of Missouri State takes the bronze medal. A2 Open takes the silver medal. And your independent open champions was Fox Audium out of that class. That was a tight battle, 96-7 and 96.
That show was that. I had to see all that. It was good. It was good.
That was like percussion too in open class. They get overlooked too much. There's some real hype shows in open, man. I swear.
Well, they had top six groups all scored in the 90s.
So I was sitting there listening to the scores that are coming through, and I was like, man, these are kind of like the bottom. I was like, oh boy. I was like, they're about to. I think would you say top 6 was 90, right?
Yeah, top 6 were in the 90s.
Yeah, so like that was, I was like, I mean, I think the 15th was pretty high in the 80s. I was like, okay, well, we're about to see some. So that class was really good. I enjoyed it.
And before we just leave that real quick, in Scholastic Open, I do want to shout out Palm Desert Charter Middle School being a finalist in the Scholastic Open class, finishing 12th. So,
and not getting last.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
That's
Crazy.
insane.
So
They got a really long clap when they announced their name. The people that were there. That's so cool.
that's huge. So shout out to them and their staff. Obviously doing some things right out there. And in the Scholastic World, Kit just drop kicked me in the head.
All right, he's like,
he's not happy. Were you not happy with the results there, Kid? In Scholastic World, you had Avon High School with the bronze medal. You had Tarpon Springs with the silver medal, closing the gap. But Carmel High School just edged them out, winning the Scholastic World Championship. But very tight scores for those top two, 96.55 and 96.25. So very close. And then the battle between third and fourth is even closer. Avon just edged out the Woodlands for that bronze, 94.4 to 94.
That Woodlands, yeah.
I really enjoyed the Woodland show.
That Woodland show.
That was good. It's real good.
But, I mean, we can talk about a little bit detail about some of the other stuff a little bit later, but awesome. And then in Independent World, you had Pride of Cincinnati with the bronze medal. You had Blessed Sacrament out of California with the silver, and then your Independent World Champions Paramount out of Atlanta, Georgia, winning in that class by about a point. Second and third was pretty tight, 96.4 to 96. And then it was a significant drop into the bottom. So
big special shout out to Amp Winterguard.
That show, man.
Who they are.
He's just hyped because he said something about him on Twitter and they answered back.
Whatever. I'm on staff now. If you retweet me, we friends.
But for real, that AMP show was really, really cool. Really, really special. So,
I'll say, if you catch the replay of that one, if you want to know how special it is, just watch the crowd reaction before they even get on the floor. It is,
no other group.
Oh my gosh, no one even got close. Yep, no one got close to it.
Yeah, if they still did the fan favorite award, they would probably
hands down
have gotten it.
Hands down.
So, but I just kind of.
I'd have put Paramount second.
Really?
For the
for fan favorite.
Fan favorite.
Okay, I was like,
if they still did it.
I was like, please tell. I thought you meant overall.
Oh no.
Like,
Nobody touching that this week.
I respectfully disagree, but no, it was good. And for me personally, seeing those top 5 groups in the Independent World, they were all 5 different kind of shows, but not your status quo guard shows. I really enjoyed that about them. Well, and you can add Onyx into that fold too, with their show Tarantella. That just we talked a little bit about what's the difference? How do they separate these top groups, especially in the world class? And I know the thing that stuck out to me the most between the top 5 and maybe the bottom half of both world class, Scholastic and Independent was just how well their body is done, design wise and execution wise. But Tarpon Springs show cool is literally cool. We talked about the Wilderness, really like that.
Dude, I like one group that they got silver medal is in Independent Open class was A2 to Open. I don't know if you guys caught that show. It's like a writing a letter kind of what they're doing. But how they designed their floor was really cool. I don't know if anyone got to catch that or not, but like unfolding letters onto the floor as they went or whatever. It was really cool. And then I think
because I was wondering myself, I was like, I think those are supposed to represent pages.
Yeah, like pages. And then there's another
something
group
like that.
in open class, they did like a Western saloon show,
Yeah.
like a duel, and like how they finished that show. I can't remember who that was off the top of my head right now. I can't remember who it was, but they like how they fold up the floor and like and all that. That was cool. That was really cool. Like I think for me, after watching the ones that I did, open class was probably the most interesting to me. Kind of weird, but I mean, I feel like that group, like they got some good groups in there.
Yeah, I was kind of sad.
The concepts were cool too.
I was kind of sad I had to miss the open class stuff. Just way times worked out on Saturday. I was ready Saturday morning, so I didn't get a chance to catch any of them. And then because of the light last night, I slept pretty long down today.
Yeah, it's hard to catch any of them or anybody throughout. It's going to be the same way for the percussion.
Yeah.
Trying to catch as many groups as you can and catch everybody, it's just going to be impossible. And you're going to miss this group. You're going to think this time was that time and get everything confused. But
yeah, I wish, and this may be just asking too much. Just, how this first world problems, but ESPN does a really good job of like I don't know how they do it, but like whatever time zone you're in, the time the game starts is displayed in your time zone.
In your time frame
Yeah.
on the app.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish we
That's
could
one of
get.
my favorite things about ESPN. I ain't got to worry about trying to figure it out or.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just an hour away from Eastern, so it's not a huge deal. But for somebody like you, depending on where the time
we late to everything.
Yeah.
So
My whole thing that what hurt for me because I was trying to line up like when Magnolia Project went during I think semis. I think is when it was. I was going to try to watch them, but I missed them because I thought when I looked at the schedule that it automatically put it into Central Time, but it did not. It was in Eastern Time. So I was like an hour behind. I was like, dang it, because I was like, that's right in the middle of my planning. I can watch them real quick.
All shows going to be in time frames for that state.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wish you're able to see that or like at least put just a little thing. Just put the time, like the different times on there. Like that way we can kind of at least put like, EDT or something like that. That way we know that's what the time is. Help a little bit.
But yeah, that's lots of memorable shows, and like I said, I watched. I did catch A class finals Friday night, and Dobbins Bennett. I mean, that's every bit of that score they deserved. It was. It gave me vibes of the drum course broad thing, except they used Frankenstein instead. And it was costuming was beautiful. Staging was well done. It was just well put together. Like, we talk about, sometimes you hear judges say that was a well done, perfect A class show or perfect open class show, where they maximize the beginning skill sets of what they can do without going into that open class too much. And Thomas Bennett did that. Like, it was strong. It was real strong. I watched it. I was like, ain't nobody catching this.
And you can tell by the number.
Yeah. Ain't nobody catching it. Kiski area had a nice floor design. It was really cool. Carmel's just flawless. It's just well put together.
With you?
Carmel.
Oh, Carmel.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I really like Woodlands. I thought they were going to hold on to that third spot. I think Avon just did one extra backflip that helped them out, or one extra exchange.
Their I wish moment.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
It was cool though. I mean, a lot as WGI is saying a lot this year, the magic was made in all the classes. So, congratulations to everybody. If you want to see the full recaps of placements for everybody, you can just head to WGI.com. You can see full recaps and figure out who did what captions.
.org in it.
.org, sorry. Who did what and what captions and all that good stuff. So, any other thoughts about Color Guard?
I'll say one more quick shout out. Onyx, far and away for me, some of the best body in their class. I loved it. It was so cool.
What you call it, the whirly dervish?
Yeah, the whirling dervish. Yeah, the whirling dervish of emotions. Yeah, it was good, man. I was glad we were able to watch that.
That was cool. It was
shout
like,
out to them for that.
It was like, who thought of that, and how did you figure out how to make that work? And because some drum lines are gonna try it in the future.
Listen, we had, I know Mystique and I want to say maybe Infinity. Probably they did it the same year. They did I don't know what
I know what you're talking about when they do this
thing.
The flower thing and no. When they're like laying on the ground and
and they hold each other and then they just go around in a rotation.
Yeah.
And one person lays down, then the other person gets up, and the other person lays down, and it's a constant motion. But everyone has to lock on and hold on to do it. And two groups did Mystique, and I can't remember who the other group did same year. And I was like, that's some stuff you probably will see in Color Guard.
Mm-hmm. It probably happened in Color Guard first. We just didn't see it.
More than likely.
But yeah,
But stuff like that, I love stuff like that.
That was the trick of the year, definitely. I remember that. I can see it.
I wish I could think of the name of it, or whatever it's called.
But
I just call it a flower because it looks like it's
like a blossom or whatever.
Yeah.
I just kind of move across the thing. So yeah, so congratulations, Color Guards. Wonderful season for you guys. It was really cool to watch some of those shows develop throughout the year and just go on to be great things. So I'm thoroughly impressed. If they still sell DVDs, I would probably buy a DVD because it was a lot of
this would be a year to get it.
I'm telling you, man.
It really is that worth it.
Copyright sucks.
That.
Like, I get it. Being a composer myself, I understand copyrights and the point of it, but man, like, it's because you want your work to be seen. Like, they're getting credit for it. Like, you have to have copyright permission to use their stuff and all that good stuff. But like for some of these folks, the best thing that they could get is the exposure of their stuff being used.
Because you got to think about it. You're talking about all these artists were, getting their music into a world that is not normal, I guess. Because movies are normal, commercials are normal. Hearing it off of the radio, hearing it in somebody's video, mute, or whatever that they may put on the internet or something. All that stuff is the regular, but you're talking about, a band wants to use mine, or a guard wants to use mine, a marching, something in that lifestyle. You're getting to be able to branch out more because what do? We do composer stuff.
I think it comes down to a royalties thing. Like, if it's sold on a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever it is, getting the royalties for that can get a pretty penny. I think that's why we don't see that more often than we do.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Because I think some of the stuff that I've listened to recently, it's because I've heard somebody else do it. Like, I didn't know who Thank You Scientist was until Blue Coats did him. And I was like, oh, this is dope. I need to. So what do? I go to YouTube and I listen to their stuff, and kind of give them that exposure. And we're doing some Bollywood stuff this year, and I've had people be like, okay, what's the name of that song and who's that stuff? Because you would never just find that stuff just on your own unless you're just looking for it. But
I think that's what Will's saying. Like, that's what's cool about this activity is like the exposure. Like, like especially like when you talk about Blue Coats or whatever organizations bringing something in. Like, who is that? What's going on there? What's that? Okay, I'm going to go listen to them now. Like that alone can really launch a, got Spotify and all of a sudden you got all these money rolling. Like, what's going on? People listen to your stuff, man.
Because I did the same thing. So was trying to find it. I really doubt if I'm going to find it, but I did the same thing. I know they didn't fare too well as far as finals and whatnot. But last year, I absolutely loved Strike Percussion's openers music. I like the music a lot. I said I have never heard this song before, and I don't know. I think I seen some on YouTube, and I made a comment, and then somebody commented it under my comment and told me the name of the song, and I went and searched it, and I was like, "This is the coolest song I've heard in a while." So it's one of those things, man. It's like,
yeah, and that's kind of the cool thing too. If there's a show or a song where you like from a show, and you find the show on YouTube and you watch it, and you put something in the comments, somebody's going to try to help you out.
Yeah,
and to find it, I did that trying to figure out a song that the Blue Devils did several years ago. That they had actually done it twice because Blue Devils like to recycle stuff. They'll reinvent it, but it's there's some tunes that they like to use, and I was just like, "What song is this?" And they was just like, "Oh yes, Bach's 2-part invention." I was like, "What?" It sounds nothing like Bach, and then I found that piece on YouTube and like. Oh, yep, that's it. It is. It's just super jazzy. So yeah, it's a lot of good that can come out with it. And I wish there was a balance. I wish they could find a balance to allow themselves to make those DVDs again. Because I miss stacking up my collection and then having binge nights where I just watch DCI or WGI videos all night long. Which you can almost do on YouTube now, but. At least when you buy the DVD, you are paying for it to use it.
Yeah.
So, all right, that was our 6-minute conversation about copyright. Anyway. It's good talk. I'm sure people wonder about that stuff. But think about that stuff too. All right, so starting tomorrow is Percussion World Championship Finals. A lot of stuff happening. It's along the same lines. I think.
I knew.
What, the cat?
Yeah, he's in the mic.
Turn around. I said, "Wait a minute."
I was like, "Is that in my house?"
No, sorry. He's close to the mic. Anyway, so we'll kind of talk a little bit about advancement, like we did last time. The formats are actually very, very similar. The only difference is there's not as many percussion groups that happen. So for your larger groups, they are broken into rounds, and they will take those rounds, take the top, depending on the class, take the top 4 or 5 out of those rounds, and then the next, blah, 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 high scores, enter number of high scores to move on to semis, and then from semifinals, they take the top 15 in the finals of each class. The only class that is not applicable to is concert class. Concert class only has prelims and finals. And what they do is in concert A, they take the top 50%. And concert open, they take the top 75%. And then in concert world, they take all. They take 100% of the prelims groups. So this year, there are 7 concert A groups. They take the top 4. There are 5 concert open groups, but they cannot eliminate just one. So they will take all 5 concert open groups in the finals. And then in concert world, they take all 5 out of 5. So, and then in independent A, I believe there are only 15 groups competing. So all 15 groups will advance to finals. So it's pretty straightforward because there's not.
Because everybody went to open.
Yes.
Oh no, that was.
No, well, still, I think.
Well, yeah, it was independent too.
I watched. They do these percussion seminars. I don't know if they're doing for Guard too, but they do these percussion seminars that you can go and they bring in folks. And then the last one that they did, they brought in Caleb Worthy, who was in charge of percussion activities for WGI. He brought in Mark Thurston, who's they both do percussion stuff. One of them does more with like logistics, and one of them's like the contest coordinator or something like that. I got to get the roles right. I should know. Shame on me. But Mark Thurston was on there, and they were just talking about one of the discussions that they had was about the groups that them bumping groups, and I think I heard them say that they bumped around 50 groups this year.
Wow.
And they just talked about really making sure that A class remains a place where somebody can come in and feel like they can be okay. Because
at some point you're probably gonna be losing folks. Ain't nobody
Exactly.
And so they made that point. They were just like, we have to make sure that A class truly remains A class, because if we keep letting that class get bigger, but the talent continues to get stronger, then at some point some group that wants to get in like, well, we can't do that, and that's the beginning level class. So there's no point. A class has to feel like A class. So I really think this year they really did a good job of trying to say, hey, you guys are really towards open, and you should probably go ahead and do what you need to do there. If you want a quick numbers rundown, there are 17 concert groups total, 7, 5, and 5. If you go 8 open world, in independent A there are 15. Independent open there are 32. Independent world there are 31. So that's almost closer to that bell curve that I was talking about, that I've talked about in previous podcasts. And if you want to be real, probably some of those 31 in world need to be in open. And then in Scholastic World, why did they split that by arena? That's crazy. Anyway, in Scholastic A, 39 A class groups, 42 Scholastic Open, and then 28 Scholastic World. So that is truly the bell curve.
That's the balance you're looking for.
Going there. It's a little more on the bottom side of stuff. 39. That's the lowest. That's the lowest that number's been in a while.
Wait, for which one?
A, 39.
39? Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know they bumped a bunch, but yeah, that's so. Considerably less amount of career kids in there, but all those groups know that they are on the same playing field as everybody else. So any thoughts or questions about that?
No.
You can see folks now getting ready. Everybody's doing their family friends nights and
We have ours Tuesday.
Teaser videos. Huh?
So we have ours Tuesday. Or I guess by the time this is out, yesterday.
It's like as soon as I leave the state, Mystique finally does their own on a different night other than audio theater. It's like, I hate y'all. I was like,
didn't you go to both of them 1 year?
1 year I was able to, and I drove like a bat out of hell to try to get to both of them because
that's a drive, isn't it?
It's not that far, not from Hoptown.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Audio theater was just going to Nashville sucked, but audio theater was
Clarksville.
I forget what it is. It's like exit 7 or something like that going into Clarksville. But they did theirs first, and right after was Mystique's, and I'm talking about like I had 20 to 30 something minutes to get there. Okay. As soon as they was like, I was like, all right, click, picture as I'm leaving. And I had just made Mystique. I think I want to say the battery was already setting up.
You're like running. Hold on.
Stop playing.
Don't do that.
I'll tap you off. I got you.
Nah, I tell people, man, y'all need to go to these family friends nights, man. They're so cool because you see stuff, you maybe hear stuff. They may tell you about the show if you didn't know something, or you hear a warm up or a lot tune that you'd never heard, or and you get that acoustic feel. Mystique a lot of times will do a standstill and a run through. You know, it's good stuff, man.
Shinguani,
It's good stuff. Just support.
Shinguani put out on Facebook today. If you haven't seen our show, or if you plan on seeing our show, I'm going to tell you guys some stuff about some stuff that you should look for. I kind of want to find this. Sorry. I just got some information. Anyway, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it right now.
No.
I can't talk about it.
I cannot wait till after we're done.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he sent out some information about the Mystique show and what to look for, as far as like what to look for as far as the concept of the show.
Yeah, jacked you up, whatever it was, didn't it?
Listen,
Yeah. Had you tighten up.
Yeah, he's mine somewhere else now.
So yeah, about the show, and like he's talking about. So I have to look for it next time. But he talks about how the show starts off from the audience perspective. How the show starts off on the left, and how basically when they're talking about plastic, how you're melting it and molding it into making it something new or better. So they start off on the left side of the floor, and I'm paraphrasing, but you can find it. He posted it on Facebook if you want to find the real thing. But they start on the left side, and they're doing all this stuff and manipulating and stuff, and then they end up doing something new on the right hand side of the floor, somewhere during the program, where follow the lights and all of that stuff, and then it comes back to the left side, basically saying they're a newer version of themselves. So like that makes that show make just that little statement without even seeing the show again. That makes that show make way more sense.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, those are the little things that everyone needs. You know, that's the little things you need just to click. You know, like.
And the judges get that. And when we fill out a spill sheet, on Competition Suite, we can tell them as much stuff about the show that we want. So the judges get that. So I think sometimes when we don't know what's going on in those world-class, more esoteric, ambiguous type of shows, I think the judges get that information, and so they understand it. So they understand it a little bit more. I understand what to look for a little bit more. So I think that's why they get it and we don't. Because sometimes, and it's probably, I would say the guard gets the same thing. So we can be like, so they can be like, okay, this is what this means here, and this is what this means here. Because like, I mean, I'm like, y'all. Sometimes I'll be watching that show like, I like it. Don't know what the hell I just watched. But good for you. Yep. So now I'm really looking forward to seeing Mystique live, and so I can see that linear progression go across visually across the floor and stuff like that. Because the way we schedule stuff is if we don't make finals Thursday night, we watch world class semifinals on Friday. That way we can we get to see them all twice essentially and stuff like that. But yeah. And so I think going to those things, because I know that's one thing I do with our friends and family night is I explain the show, talk about maybe if there's an inspiration behind it or anything like that, but kind of let them know our thought process in the show. Even in concert class, especially this year, with the storytelling that we're telling them, if you've seen the show multiple times, you can watch something a little bit different. And we actually have kind of like 2 or 3 different storylines happening at the same time, not just one. We tell the story of one, but there's a couple of other hidden ones happening in the background too. Like just about every kid is supposed to be doing a specific role. But I always tell the kids, like, your challenge is to make people guess what you are. and what your role is in the show. So, but yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Side note, I think that'd be really cool and interesting if, like, and they might do this. I don't know. I just thought not be that tapped in, but like, if WGI could do something where like they have little like minute and a half, 2-minute videos where they talk with like some of the people just to give kind of like the idea and the gist of like their shows, you know, like some of the ones that you don't have to do everyone's, but like
I think
just kind of, I think that would help a lot.
I think their version of that is when you could submit at the beginning of the season. You could submit your show and tell the story about your show to WGI, and then they may do a feature on it. So they don't do it for every group, but you can like submit your show in and do that. And then if they pick it, they'll see, blah 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 is presenting this show, blah blah blah, and it's about this and this and this. Just a video version of that could be cool. It's just getting it done.
Yeah, getting down who you pick.
Yeah.
How do you get them?
Just because there's so many groups. That's all. I mean, DCI's a lot easier, and especially since most of the time they do. Well, a lot of DCI groups are just doing it on their own.
Yeah,
with stuff.
A man can dream, though.
Yeah. So, well, y'all want to talk about maybe some predictions or who we're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, you got some drum rank we can kind of talk about and see where we are.
I got some drum rank.
you got.
Now you're gonna ask me, do I have drum rank? What's drum rank? No, it's fine. JK, I had it pulled up. All right, where we want to start?
Let's go A.
All right,
let's start at A, and we'll
do our normal order. We'll do the scholastic stuff, and then go there. So, this is your unofficial. I can't stress this enough. Your unofficial rankings going into World Championships. Okay, a lot of these groups have not gone out in a while. Scapa just had their finals, so if you're seeing a 415 or something like that, those groups just had their finals, but they've just been updated. So, so anything can happen. I would feel safe in saying, you got a 3-point gap between first through 5. So I would say any of those 5 are capable of winning it all. I would feel fairly confident about saying that. I think you're looking for groups that pop 90, because it's hard to write a 9 first. It is. So just kind of keep that in mind. So, and then you take top 15 overall. So I would say, anybody's popping 87s, 88s, you got a pretty good shot. So any of these groups kind of stick out to you?
It says is 3 rounds for A this year or 2?
It's always 3. They just do. It's 3 rounds, but it's 2 days. So they'll have their prelims Thursday, and then they have their semis Friday morning, and then finals is Friday night.
That fight for that 15 spot's going to be, it's packed down there pretty tight. It'll be interesting to see where they all kind of land.
Anything can happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's so weird because you go up against randos in your round,
yeah,
and
they had them at 2 different. They had them at 2 different arenas this year. Yeah. So, with that, I mean,
you're getting 2 different eye sets.
Yeah.
So it really is up in the air.
I would say there's 20 groups per group, so I would guess they're doing 2 rounds of 10 with 1 round of 9.
Probably.
I could pull up that schedule really quick. But yeah, let's see here. So yeah, round 3 and 4 at Truist Arena, and rounds 1 and 2 are at Hobart Arena. What they're going to do for each round, they're going to take the top 3 scores from each round. So that gives you 6. And then they're going to take the next 6 highest scores at that arena.
Okay, that makes it a little bit better.
Okay. The next 6 highest scores. So they'll take out the top 3 from each round. So that'll leave 13 at one, 14 at the other. And then they're going to take the next 6 high scores from those remaining groups. So they're taking.
And then all be together.
Yeah, they're taking
semis.
Yep, they're taking 24 in the semis for Scholastic A. So
gotcha.
So that's going to be hard to call because none of these I've heard of these groups, but none of them have just been like a dominant.
Watch me,
force.
That's what I was going to say.
Because see, that's the thing is that.
Like, go ahead. I know what you're going to say.
I was like, that's where the groups can sneak in, man. Like that's. And that's what makes it interesting at the bottom because sometimes like you have your top groups and they're locked or whatever, but like those battles to get into that semifinals position, like I mean that's if you look at starting at like, I mean even like at 11th and 12th like you're in there like and from there like it's not that big of a gap between the rest of those groups so.
11th and under is tight as a mug.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's
6 or 8.
And here's the thing: all of those top, they promoted all of those top groups. All of those names that were used in NA, they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
So literally,
exactly.
Literally, it's anybody's game. If you are an A class group and you're listening to this podcast right now, you need to make sure that you go and you do give it your all,
and you lay one down.
You got a shot.
Yeah, and a cold hammer because.
You got a shot.
If there ever was a year.
And I think that's what WGI wanted. And if it is, they succeeded because, like I said, even with these numbers being up here, if they're in a small circuit and hadn't seen anybody, or they just want everybody in their circuit out of the water.
I'm about to say, the funny thing about it, that don't even mean nothing.
No.
You go out there and just crap on yourself.
I feel like I say this every episode at their job, but like that's what makes their classification system really good because like it rewards the people that are doing successful and it keeps the classes competitive to the very end. Like it starts to round out towards the end. You kind of know where everything is, but I mean, it's still someone can lay one down and just come out of nowhere, and that's what's good about that. How they do it.
So. All right, moving on to Scholastic Open. So here's what you're looking at right here. So your top 5. Well, we'll do everybody that's popped at least a 90. So 96. So that's I think Carolina's just had their regionals. So because 96 is in, I believe in North Carolina, maybe South. But your top 6 have popped 90. And I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but it's about the same. Like, you don't know. Now, you get some more familiar names. Kettering, Fairmont, Norwalk, Zionsville, been there forever. Clover, 96. Milford, Ravenwood. I mean, then look at all these groups that got promoted.
Willing to bet that Ravenwood.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
I was going to say that Ravenwood is actually, I would willing to bet that they're actually higher than that.
Yeah.
Or they'll be higher than that.
Right. I mean, you got groups that's been promoted. 96 was promoted from A class and sitting 6th. New Milford sitting 8th. Milford sitting not. That's funny. So you Milford now. New Milford. New Milford.
We're better than that old Milford.
Yeah. Northview being promoted. It's in that thing. You got all of these groups. Bellbrook on the verge. That have been promoted that are doing well right now. But look at the list of groups that were reclassified.
That's crazy, dude.
That is insane. And then they even did a whole bunch of groups that got reclassified to World. That were started open, and then they moved to World.
It's crazy.
So it's
See, I thought I just seen one of these schools, and they're from Washington.
who is it?
It's a Kamiak High School that's sitting 7th right now.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there you go.
Because I saw in Everett, but I don't think that's here. I think there's another one somewhere.
That's an interesting name. Like,
So-
that's just not a name you hear every day.
No. See, they be making up stuff out here. So go ahead, little Kamiak High School.
Hey, they ain't no little, apparently.
Yeah.
They
Go
doing
ahead
something
with your
right.
bad self.
So Scholastic Open, there will be at Nutter Center, and the way they're going to break down is very similar to Class A. So 4 rounds, top 3 scores in each round advance, top 3 scores in each round advance, and then they will take the next 6 high scores from rounds 1 and 2, and then the next 6 high scores from round 3 and 4. So a total of 24 groups going to semifinals and Scholastic Open. So I can't call it, dude. I don't. And any of these, like I said, these guys have names and have pedigree of being strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and then you just.
I mean, honestly, you could say probably like top 10 right now. Like,
yeah, probably have a shot.
somewhere around.
I mean, if you look in the 86 range to 87 or 88, you got that. So if you're trying to make semis, probably want to be above 85 going in. But look at this. Trumbull, Belbert, Victor DeAndrew, Mansfield. These are Laker Ryan.
Like that's why I said
These are dudes. Like
these are heavy hitters, man. These are heavy hitters. That's why I'm like, when the time really comes, this gonna shape a whole lot different than what it is right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I almost can guarantee it is.
So yeah, so those are some heavy hitters. So moving right along. By the way, guys, we are apparently streaming because I forgot to hit the button. So we're live on YouTube.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Late in this VOD. Here
Well,
we go.
It is what it is. So world class. Now we can talk a little bit about this one, but you got Dartmouth, Ayala.
Somebody
Hold on,
watching.
wait a minute. Wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah. We love to see it.
Whoa.
And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Whoa. Like,
What do you
okay.
even say? Like,
Like, wait a minute.
Dude, y'all show is awesome, man.
I haven't seen it. I have not seen that show yet. Oh, no. Have I? I think I did, but I watched it at the California Regional.
They're climbing on the. Yeah,
I watched it at the
they're
California
climbing on
Regional.
those props.
So they all kind of blended together a little bit. Because California kind of sounds the same. Except for RCC in Broken City. But, okay, so Ayala, did you know this, Will?
What?
Ayala beat Chino Hills.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you didn't blow up Twitter?
Try to have some restraint sometimes.
Listen,
That's
that's
why I'm so tired.
huge. When was the last time we've seen Chino Hills outside of the top 3? or outside of the top two, really. It's been a minute.
I know. If I got to think that hard, it's been too long.
It's been a minute. Wow. So, okay. Yeah.
Storyline going
Fantastic.
into
It would be fantastic if Avon just,
That's a big one. Well,
just,
this is recent. This is a recent score. So, like,
yeah.
that could be something a little bit more, difficult to think about. But
Fairlawn's sitting 6th and got bumped.
yeah, yeah.
You got to keep trying
Let's
to
see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Boswell,
6. Look, 10 through 9 through 15 are all
14.
promoted.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Look at Clearbrook.
What you said? Go ahead, Clear.
See, I set it up.
Seeing your crystal.
I set it up that time. See, I did that.
stupid.
That's media right there. That's media school. That I didn't go to. But man, wow! Look, I mean, I'm getting more excited about this as we go along. Now, this is weird to see.
Right?
He ain't used to that, but man, all these schools like
Wale.
I'm talking about Arcadia. It's in 16th.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, yeah.
That is not a final spot. That is not where we're used to seeing them. But here's the thing: Clearbrook, open class beast, doing the same thing in World. Old Bridge, open class beast, not used to seeing them. Dorman, that show, I bet you they've cleaned it. It's so good. Sci-Fair used to be an open class. Like some of these groups that just used to dominate open got pushed in the world.
It is about time.
And they made it, and they're thriving. I mean, we said the same thing about Sparkman when they first went to open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, man, these schools, man, I know they do. Because I'm not even going to lie to you, because I guarantee you I would too. But you get worried a little bit. You might even get scared if you start in one class and then they're telling you, no, you need to be in this class. Because all of your brain is probably telling you, no, I don't want none of that, When in reality, look at you. You finna send some folks home.
Yeah.
I said that plenty of times. I was like, you don't want none of that. But like, if you got these judges who have seen groups all across the country saying, nope, you belong with them.
It's like, yeah, you do want that.
You might want to listen to them. So, Scholastic World, they are in 2 rounds, but I don't really think the rounds matter much because they just said the top 20 scores advance to PSW semis. Now,
Well,
yeah. So
there we go.
here's some interesting things to notice. I'm looking at the lineup. Do y'all want me to share the lineup so you can see? Because that may dictate some stuff. So I'll stop sharing that. And I'll share this instead. Here. So, because I do think sometimes placement matters. Performance order, I should say, matters.
It do.
So, if you look here, you got your 3rd and your 4th place group, score-wise, right back by each other. So, Centerville, friendly group was Drew, and Fishers, they're going to set the standard. But it's all across the board. They have them separated in rounds, but it's really everybody throughout the day. So that's your first.
It's crazy because
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, basically piggybacking off of you is like when Avon go on, man, they gonna have to pop it, and now everybody gonna have to get judged to that until Dartmouth hit it.
Yeah, you want to be sitting first until Dartmouth comes in. That's what you
so on and so forth.
So You got that.
It's wild, man.
Your second block, which is considerably larger for some reason. So look at here. You got Dartmouth surrounded by soft air. And Dorman. So this block seems fairly even. Dartmouth's going to be an outlier. So we'll see how that goes. Homestead's up there, but that's going to be your outlier. So that could drive these scores up some, or it could push them down. Your third block, you got Ayala, and then probably Old Bridge is your next big.
Maybe Franklin will get up there, but
yeah. So you got some standouts in here, right? And then your fourth block, Chino, Clearbrook.
Clearbrook going on last.
So it's gonna be real interesting.
Because it's crazy, man. You think about it, taking Avon, for example. Avon is going to have to lay it down so hard that they stay in the judge's mind until Clearbrook. Or until somebody like Chino hits. Or, like, because it's... I tell somebody... I talk about this all the time. It was the year... RCC got such a huge penalty, it almost put them out of finals. And the funny thing about it is that year should have been the year RCC won. And that's not throwing no shade to anybody, to Pulse, who actually did win. But going in and through the season, RCC had that. And that penalty hurt them. Because the penalty put them at the bottom. And if I'm not mistaken, they either went on first in the whole finals or second to the first. And because they were that far down, like, the only group that was comparable to them at the time was Pulse. And Pulse got to go on last. So that's why I said, RCC had to stay in their minds for that whole show until Pulse came on. And then they still wound up giving it to Pulse. And I told people, I was like, now you reverse all of that. Because theoretically, RCC would have went on last. Pulse is supposed to go on second to last that year. That's how it was literally supposed to be, because that's how they were going to come out of semis or whatever. So at that point, RCC would have won. So I was like, its placement really does matter like that. Mm-hmm. And that's wild.
We talk about that a lot, and just general, like, if you're one of those early ones that go on, your show's probably going to be 4 or 5 points better than everyone else's, just to make sure you're in the right spot going into the next. That's so crucial, because judges will pop a number if it's good enough. But the thing is that sometimes where you go does get you slotted. Sometimes. Mm-hmm. That can be a huge killer, like the instance that you're talking about. So, yeah. If you're in that early block or you're early on, you've got to lay one down.
Yeah, you do. So, and hell said, me and you dealt with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One year we got slotted wrong, in my opinion.
It was the Boston Strong year.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
We went to a regional, which is considerably harder competition, but that was our last show, and that was the score they used to seed us by. So we were seeded like we were like a bottom tier group, but ended up finishing 5th out of like 17. But had we been compared directly to,
and we're barely out of it,
those top tier groups, we might have would have medaled that year. But
we would have medaled. No, I'm saying it. We would have medaled. No, I'm not saying. I think we would have been scraped into third place, or we would have just hit third, and it wouldn't have been easy or nothing like that. But I in my heart of hearts believe that yes, that year we would have medaled in third place. And I was like, that seating and where we and how we went on. I was like, 'cause we went on, we laid it, and they had to compare everybody to us.
Yeah.
You're not going to convince me that they didn't, because we went on so early. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This it kind of sucked.
It was. I mean, you guys know they put you in performance order, but like for most of the time for circuit championships, you're seated. So like we're down there by the bottom tier groups, and they gave 17th place, 16th place, 15th place, 13th place, and then they get to where we should have been, and then skip, and they get all the way down the line, and they're like, did they forget about us? Like, did we get disqualified and not noticed? Like, what happened? But now so that kind of happens. All right, so we just scratched the surface today. We just got to Percussion Scholastic A today. I'm sorry, Percussion Scholastic today. We're going to do a separate video and talk about the independent groups, the concert classes, and the worlds. That way we don't have a 13-hour podcast and you have to listen to it all. So we'll do episode 34.5, or I don't know if we call it 35 or what, but it'll be with the rest of the groups. Yeah. It'll be with the rest of the groups that we got going on. So if you like what you heard so far, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know down below who you think is your favorite to win it, who you rooting for to win it all, who you looking forward to seeing. Are you going to date? If you are, say hi to me. Anyway, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can listen to us on Anchor.fm and Spotify. So, fellas, you guys got anything else? All right.
Nope. Have fun. Good luck.
Yeah. For that, Chris and Will, my name is Cedric. This has been episode 34 of On the Back Hash, and we are out.